Hey guys, good morning. All right, let's do a quick update on Bitcoin because we're getting some movement here, and it seems to be quite technical. So we might have some opportunity. Now, one thing I just want to make a point of mentioning is that when you're working off of a 15-minute chart, you really have to expect to be constantly monitoring and relabeling what you're seeing as the market unfolds. So this looks much more dramatic than it might be if you were over on, say, as we've been using as a reference chart. If we look over here to our 4-hour, well, we can just see we've got a nice little ABC underway, and should be no surprise considering how good this pitchfork has been to containing this move that we've come down and we've wicked the median line here right as we hit this little fib cluster here. That's thus the drawing of the box, and we came right into the box. Now it looks like we might have one more little tap down. It would certainly not be surprising considering what we've seen throughout the course of this entire move if we were to come down and tap the 618. But I just want to make that point is that the shorter the time frame, the more you're consistently, altering your count as the market unfolds. So a simple ABC here on the 4-hour, we get out into the 15-minute, and then we get some complexity. So looking at it here now, we saw this yesterday. This was a cluster from yesterday where we had the intersection of the channel and the pitchfork, and we tapped the median line a couple of times. Now we're pushing that support level here, and if I'm going to take that off, if we look at this from an Elliott perspective. Excuse me, morning. We can see a nice 5-wave sequence developing in here for a 5th wave. So, we're pushing the boundaries. This is somewhat becoming suspect as to whether or not that's a 4 or not. We're awfully deep here. We're well past the 1. So if we're going to go, up to a new high, we're going to do it as a diagonal. If you look here now, we got this. I'm drawing the box here. This is our swing low to high, right to our 61865 as it lines up with the median line. So it would not surprise me at all if we see a push down here to get to the 618, and that would be right, very much aligned with that median line. So let's just run some fibs off of it. So the first one we got to look at is what happened here from our A up to our B. We went a little through the 618, the 786 holds it, and then we down to the median line, back to the outside edge, then we're down to the median line again. Do you see how that's providing the geometry, if you will, of the market? So let me take that up. Now, you can see here from that pull, here's our negative 23. Here's our algo target. So we're to and through by a little bit. Now, here's our negative 618 of that, very close down here with this window of the 618 of this swing. And then we've got our negative 618 as an extreme from the A projected from the B. So we start building a little cluster down here. Now, we got to look at all of these swings. So if we do the same thing from our B high to our 2 high, then we see went right to the 786. That gives us here this fib target, which we've now hit. So we had this box forming up yesterday, and then the negative 618 of that is lining up exactly with the negative 618 of the larger pull. So we get again we get this clustering idea. Then again we would pull from the 2 down to the 3. There's the 4, goes right to the 50, and then we get that clustering up here. There's that negative 23, okay, and that negative 618, and then we've got some more clustering. So we're getting these 2 target zones down here as potential support areas. We get this deep, then we're really challenging the idea of this being a 4th wave. So I think we might consider relabeling if we see that. But right now we're just hovering right where you would anticipate it to be looking for support, which is between the 1 and the 2 wave. Even though we have this very shallow 2, you can see how that's providing some support. My best guess is that we've got one more leg down here to complete this 5-wave structure. We may break this channel, so if I take that off, that gives us our targets down here. Other fibs that we'd want to consider are the alternate. So if I go to my alternate tool and I pull from my 1 down to my, or pardon me, from the start of this 5 wave, from my 2, okay, if I jiggle it here, do you see that? So we get, there's the 100%, again, reinforcing this as a cluster. But if we're coming back down, then we've got here in this olive color, that's the 1272. And then down here we get the 1618 to the 175. So again, I guess we could pull this up a little bit to contain all of that. But you can see we've got a diagonal here with the 4 overlapping the 1. So in a diagonal, we want to also consider the move from the 1, or pardon me, from the start of the diagonal to the 3rd wave projected from the 4th, as we'll often see a relationship. So if I jiggle this here, you see I put it on the 4, and then we get the 618 right here to reinforce this, and then down here, here's the 100% of this swing that encompasses the 1 and the 3 low from our 4. So we're getting 2 strong areas here where we're likely to see some support. If we break one, we're likely to go to the other, and then pay attention to the median line. Look how well this has contained this move. So median line, outside edge, median line, outside edge. So the expectation would be we're coming back down here to challenge the median line, but we got to get through that. I mean, we're sitting right here, at this cluster that we marked up yesterday. So, any help from the oscillators? We're getting some divergence down here, so if we do come down here and challenge this median line and this strong cluster down here, I think that's a reasonable spot to maybe take a first bite at a long. The fork that's happening today, I really, how do you project how that's going to affect the market? I don't think it's very meaningful to Bitcoin. We may be seeing this correction just because of the FUD factor, a little uncertainty, a little doubt, maybe some nervous money, waiting to get through it. If you just look back historically as to how any previous forks have affected Bitcoin, it hasn't been much impact to the longer-term bull market. So just a quick update there. It'll be interesting to see, how this responds. If it does get a break, you can see actually here, even as we go into this 5th wave, we're getting some subdivision here. So potentially a 1, a 2. We'd look for a 3, 4, 5. So likely these are going to get challenged today unless we're putting in some sort of a double bottom here. It would surprise me, but I would love to get a little bite at it down here with another test of that median line. That would be perfect. But if this doesn't hold, right, so we don't want to go too heavy here because we know we've got a stronger support area down here that, if this breaks, we're likely going down there. And so we're talking about, from 5,500 down to 5,350. So that's a 150 point range. No reason to ride that down. So a tight stop here would be, that's how I would trade it, right? I wouldn't ride that down. If this isn't going to hold, I'll take the small loser. If I'm in there, I'll take that loser and look to start again down here until we get some more clarity. And then, of course, whenever we get it, what we're looking for is a test of the median line. Do we get through? Do we get through and then go up and test some of these larger retracements, right? Because we'll be internal to this, or do we hit this and then come back down again for another tap of the median line? So this remains to be seen. The other option always is if we get a good cluster here and we complete this 5 wave, this will have the symmetry and the pattern that we're looking for. Do we get a little pump up to the outside edge of the pitchfork, and then the first retracement might be the more conservative way to approach that. Or if you bought it some here, that's a place to consider adding a little more. All right, that's it for now. Be back to you in a little bit.